The Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Is Sanjeev Gupta or any entity related to him a creditor of One Steel Manufacturing Proprietary Limited, and if so, to what value and what priority?
The Premier.
The Shadow Attorney General, I'm pretty sure the Shadow Attorney General would also be familiar, I would hope, with the Corporations Act and understand that is entirely a matter for the Administrator.
The member for Flory is on his final warning.
I was speaking the same way on the weekend that you were. I understand where you're getting your questions from. Yeah.
The Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Who's funding the administration?
The Premier.
The administration is fully funded, and tomorrow the vehicle through which the administration is being fully funded will be announced.
The Deputy Leader. The Deputy Leader.
Answer the question.
The Deputy Leader. Do you want a question? The member for McKillop. The member for McKillop. The member for Adelaide.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. What impact will the Whyalla Steelworks Charge on Property Amendment Act have on other secured creditors, and when were they consulted?
The Premier.
First and foremost, Mr Speaker, the amendment that was made in the Parliament this morning, and I thank the opposition again for their support to facilitate that, puts in place the ability for the state to take the action that has since transpired, and the principal impact that it will have on creditors will be, of course, apart from the obvious factors in administration, it will mean that there is a stabilisation of the business, which we think in the long run will be to their benefit. Now, we did not obviously engage with other creditors about our legislative plans, because that was only decided and confirmed by the Cabinet yesterday, and then confirmed and decided by the Parliament today. So that, of course, doesn't allow for other creditors to be made aware of the state government's plans, because to make them aware of those plans would be to make other people aware of our plans in a way that would potentially compromise the plan itself. So that would, of course, not be prudent.
The Deputy Leader.
In light of the time the Premier has indicated, has the government received any advice as to the constitutionality of the Act, including consideration of the consequences of the High Court's decision in Bell in Western Australia?
Mentally, that's a separate standalone question.
Premier? I think, yeah.
Can't ask legal opinions.
I think.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Can't ask a legal opinion.
I think well, I'll tell you what.
Members on my right will come to order.
The question from the Shadow Attorney General pertains to legal advice that the government may have sought. Clearly, when the government is taking on a circumstance as serious as this one, with the gravity that this one has, we have sought to engage some of the smartest minds in the nation. Some of the smartest minds in the nation, and we have indeed engaged Silks, who have been judged by their peers to be worthy of that title, and we're very confident that the government has taken that advice into active consideration in every judgment we've made.
The Deputy.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. Will the government guarantee that the blast furnace at Whyalla won't be turned off, and what urgent orders have you sought or obtained to assure that outcome?
The Minister for Energy.
First and foremost, there's an Indenture Act that requires the operations of a steelworks to maintain a mining licence. Anyone attempts to close steelmaking in Whyalla will be in breach of the indenture. Pretty simple equation. And as I've just said, Mr Speaker, the administration is fully funded. Now, if GFG has fallen into administration because the directors believed that they were trading insolvent and there was no bank debt, because remember, you might remember, so when Arian went into administration last time, they were in administration and the banks, the big four Australian banks, were the ones who funded the administration to try and retrieve their debt. In this situation, sir, tomorrow we will reveal the full extent of the funding, but to say that the administrators are fully funded. I have no expectation whatsoever that the blast furnace closure is imminent in any way. My concern, and you might have noted for the bill that you voted for today, it gives me the ability to send in experts to examine the health of the blast furnace. We've engaged blast furnace experts and we were denied access by GFG. You know, if I was going to ask legal advice, it wouldn't be from you. All right? Okay? And I'm not trying to dismiss suburban lawyers at all. All right? No, they're very good, and they have excellent work. Right? But what I am talking about, sir, is that the administration is fully funded. There is an indenture in place. There are legacy contracts in place. Now, sir, One Steel Manufacturing has contractual arrangements in place. The administrators will take control of all the audited accounts if they exist. They will examine those. They will make assessments about what reporting they make those. You might also have noticed, if you had read the bill that passed this parliament today, that it gives me the ability to call for audited accounts. I've written numerous letters to the directors of GFG asking for audited accounts and access to the blast furnace to make sure it is healthy enough and can be maintained. And as I said in an earlier answer to a question, what sent a real shiver up my spine was on Friday when I was informed by a creditor that had a long legacy of debt with GFG, who was being paid in advance for oxygen supplies to the blast furnace, that supply of oxygen was becoming precarious. Now that, sir, meant that the government was now aware that even the smallest debts that were critical to the operation of the blast furnace were now becoming under threat. And you know, cheap shots from the cheap seats about this is unfair.
Minister, the Deputy Leader's got a point of order.
It's Standing Order 98. The Premier said not more than a few minutes ago that this was the time to be open and transparent. The simple question is, can he give a guarantee that the blast furnace will not be stopped? And has he got orders to assist in that, to that end? He hasn't answered the question.
I think the Minister has been answering the question.
So, the administration is fully funded. The first calls we made were to the workers who support the blast furnace, and what we've said to them is to only take instructions from the administrators and preserve and protect the blast furnace at all costs. And as time goes on, people will become aware of the government's heightened concern about the blast furnace, and we maintain that the blast furnace is integral to the operations of Whyalla.